We're so grateful to be interviewing our good friend Kash Khan. And we brought him in because he brings a perspective that now people have to be open to as well. I think it's really, really important to kind of see this side to all of this and really understand, the kind of world that we're also shaping up to be, and also just those perspectives on breaking down structures and really moving through them so that we can have a better world.
Yeah, we're very lucky to call Kash our friend as well. We met him at Rhythmia as well. And, he has a documentary coming out as well, which discusses plant medicine and, just the psychedelic medicine journeys. He's gone deep into this world to just explore human consciousness and bring this awareness to the masses. So you're going to get so much out of this interview and you're going to absolutely love it.
Kash, thank you so much for joining us. You're like a brother to us, honestly. We've gotten to know each other really, really well, and that was all the more reason why we really wanted you here. I mean, not only that, I mean, we didn't even know that you had such a big following, in the work that you do, with helping people find awareness, raise their consciousness, and even now learning conscious parenting as well. So. It's really beautiful, and we really, really appreciate having you over here as well.
Thank you, brother. It's an honor to be here. Anything I can do to support, I'm here for you. And to get the invite, it's an honor. And I'm hoping that we can create beautiful conversation here together that really helps to raise the consciousness of the planet and the people that are listening.
Yes, thank you so much, Kash, for being here. I remember the first time we met you at Rhythmia.
Yes.
And it was so beautiful to see because we hadn't done the plant medicine before, and just going on with life, and and now suddenly experience this awakening. But it was really nice to see you as an inspiration of doing good in the world, and you played a huge role in awakening that within us as well. So thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor. It's an honor and a privilege.
It was kind of weird. I mean, because your name is Qasim and my name is Basim. Like I was really thrown off by that. It's like,
I know, and we just happen to be next to each other as well.
Exactly. That's wild, So listen, one of the things that we wanted to really ask you about, and this is something that actually on a personal level we'd love to know more. You've had a whole series of transformations, different sorts of pivotal moments in your life that led you to do the work that you're doing today. Would you be able to kind of take us through some of those more important moments as well, to help also the audience understand, why on earth is it that you're doing this?
Of course. So I would say for me, my story is one of pain, and how out of pain comes growth. So throughout my life, there was a number of there was abuse as a child. There was self-abuse as an adult in the form of drug addiction, gambling, alcohol. And then this manifested in such a way where I formed an unhealthy relationship and I had a child. And if I had to pick one pivotal moment in my life where I was spiritually awakened, it was a time where I was a father, and I literally had my son ripped out my arms. And this sent me into a spiral of depression and self-harming. And it was 3 or 4 years later, when I was in and out of a court battle, fighting to see my son, when I actually first was able to see him in person in the physical form. And it was upon seeing him that I returned home, and that I really had to take a look at myself through his eyes. So he was the inspiration ultimately behind my spiritual journey. I really believe that everything in my life that happened to me as a child, as an adult, it was perfect. It had to happen in that way for me to be where I am today. And I think this is the key, is understanding that all the things that happen to you in life are a lesson. And it's how you choose to perceive those things that happen to you that will define how you grow as a person. So when my son was looking at me, I decided to go home, and I said to myself, how do I want my son to look at me? How do I want him to see me as a father? And I literally opened up my laptop, and it was like I was speaking to him through my laptop. And I said, this is what I stand for. I stand for equality. I stand for education. I want to inspire others. and I want to change the world, and I want to be the inspiration that my son needs, you know? And so I literally wrote down 3 words that resonated with me: educate, inspire, change. And I turned it into a Facebook page, and I was just sharing content. And I found that within a matter of weeks and months, I really found that I was becoming almost obsessed with this newfound path of sharing the truth. It was like a form of therapy for me, you know, like throwing myself into this world, learning about science, learning about politics, learning about health, learning about spirituality, meditation, yoga. And over the years, this kind of took over. And within 2 years, this platform I'd built, I was able to focus on it full time. I'd built such a large following where I could leave my full-time job and dedicate myself to building this platform. And so I would say for me that these like major life circumstances and events, I chose to use them as fuel to grow. And I'm so grateful now. It sounds weird to say, but I'm so grateful now that my child was taken off me. I'm so grateful now that I was beaten up as a child. I'm so grateful now that I put myself through all those issues of addiction and trauma, because I don't think I would be here talking to you today if I didn't go through all of those extreme, painful events in my life.
Thank you for sharing that, Kash.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Kash, you know, you've done plant medicine a few times now, and you've experienced a lot of contrast growing up and through your life's experiences. How did you break free from the conditioned beliefs, the conditioned events, all of those, and recognize your true nature?
Ever since I was a child, I was always very curious by nature. Like I remember as a child always being really curious about space, the nature of reality, looking at magic, looking at nature, and wondering what was out there. And I feel like as an adult, I still maintained this curious nature, which is why I think I created Educate, Inspire, Change. And I think it's this curiosity that led me into looking into psychedelics, DMT, ayahuasca. And when I was really like reading up about these amazing plant medicines and the journeys that people were having, it just completely blew me away. And I felt like this is a world I really want to understand more. It still took me maybe 2 or 3 years to actually have the courage and the confidence to even think about doing the journeys myself. In the beginning, it was just something I was interested in. But then as I got more interested in it, it was as if the universe was calling me. And I was talking about DMT and ayahuasca through my business, through my page. And I think this is when Rhythmia Life Advancement Center, the place where we guys met, they saw that I had a platform and they saw that I was interested in psychedelics. And so they actually sent me an email, I think in 2018 or 2017, even at the end of 2017, just saying we would love to invite you over to our retreat. And I remember initially reading the email and thinking, no chance, like I'm not going to do it, I'm not ready. But like I thanked them for the offer and I said, no, thank you. And then I remember it was maybe a year later when I was watching Joe Rogan's podcast. I was listening to people like Terence McKenna and Graham Hancock, people that I really look up to. And I was really feeling like in myself that I needed to make a change because I was repeating old bad habits. Even although I had Educate, Inspire, Change, even although I was like moving on with my life, I was still repeating unhealthy cycles, you know, like I would deal with anxiety through alcohol. I would often escape my problems by, you know, like gambling or, you know, like doing things that were unhealthy that weren't serving me. I felt like my body was suffering. I was smoking. I was still drinking more than I should. I wasn't eating the best possible. And I was repeating these unhealthy cycles. These defense mechanisms I had created as a child to escape my trauma, I was continuing them as an adult, you know? So I was realizing that I was still behaving in a pattern kind of way, that I was just escaping reality. So I realized that I needed a wake-up call. I needed I needed help externally because I wasn't able to manage it internally myself. My nervous system wasn't equipped to deal with this, so the problems I was going through. So I realized that maybe ayahuasca was the answer for me. So I remember emailing Rhythmia back a year later, asking if the offer was still open. And I'm really thankful to them that they said yes. And I was able to make the journey there in March 2019. And that's where my journey started.
Wow. Wow. So, as someone, I mean, the irony is quite profound, especially for our generation. I mean, many of us, we grew up like, doing all sorts of drugs and substance abuse. I would even rather calling all of it kind of substance abuse. But then it's just kind of weird that it kind of progresses into, now it's like you have all these plant medicines and essentially, they have psychedelic effects, they have hallucinogenic effects and things like that, but they're very healing. Would you be able to help us sort of understand kind of like that transition as well? Because there's a lot of labeling in this world, right? So, and especially because now, like, you're a dad, we're parents, like, how are we going to really adapt into this new world where now, like, this form is accepted, right? And it's kind of weird because it's just, you've got these generations, and then now this generation, like, it's different.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I feel like I have a unique viewpoint on this because I had a lot of conditioning as a child around religion, culture, what I could eat, what my beliefs were to be. So from in my early 20s, I really had to break down some big walls, in order to progress with my life. My father was quite strict father figure. My mother was a strict Muslim. So you can imagine for me growing up in Scotland, surrounded by, a different kind of culture, everyone's drinking, everyone's, have a different kind of lifestyle, celebrating Christmas, and I'm encountering all these contradictions. So from a young age, I understood that there's a lot of barriers that were built around me, that it was up to me to break them down. So I already was aware that walls were built around me from a young age, and that it's up to us to self-educate. It's up to us to really be the catalyst and inspiration that we need, because no one else is going to do it for us. Most of my friends growing up, for example, they continued the life path that was laid out for them as a child. They all stayed on the same religious path. They all married who their parents want them to marry. They all worked in jobs that their parents want them to work in. Whereas I felt like, for me, I was a bit of a black sheep. I was a bit of a rebel. I was always questioning everything. I was questioning authority. I was questioning my parents. I was questioning my religion. And I'm really grateful to this day that that spirit in me, persisted.
Mm.
So as an adult, discovering things like ayahuasca, and people talking about ayahuasca as if it's a drug, or you're just going there to get high, or you're just wanting to, you're just replacing one drug with another drug. Nothing can be further from the truth. We need to self-educate and decondition ourselves to look at things like ayahuasca, San Pedro, Campbell, tobacco, um, all as things that the planet, Mother Nature, is providing us as a tool for personal growth and healing. If it grows out of the land that we live on, if Mother Earth, our own mother, provides this for us, as long as we don't add our own, like chemical changes, as long as we take it in its natural form, the way it's meant to be taken, it can have profound healing effects. And for thousands, hundreds of thousands, who knows how many years, that humans have had a deep connection with nature and a deep connection with spirit, and they understood what these medicines were here for. They had a deep connection with themselves. And only, I believe, in the last maybe 100, 200 years, in alignment with the Industrial Revolution, have humans corrupted this medicines and corrupted nature, and conditioned our children and next generations to think that these are actually drugs and that they should be banned substances. And I feel like a duty, I feel like it's up to us as rainbow warriors, as members of this new generation, to really listen to the call of arms that the earth is calling for us to help. It's crying out for us to help. We only have to look at what's happening around the planet with the death of the Amazon, the burning of the jungle, the burning of the fires in Australia, even the virus. The planet is calling out and it's asking us to help. Our mother needs us. And it's up to us to change people's minds, to be the light, to be the change that we wish to see in the world. Me and you can't change someone's mind, but we can be the light, and people can look at us and ask us, wow, what are you doing? So my view is, be the change that you wish to see in the world. by me living here in Costa Rica, by me doing plant medicine, by me raising my children, by me being happy and shining this light, automatically people are looking at me and questioning and asking me, what am I doing different? Why am I so happy? Why am I on this path? What, what's going on? And this curiosity, I'm sparking curiosity in others. And I believe that this is the key to change, is just by living your truth, walking your path, and letting others come to you. Don't go looking for others, because you're not going to change their mind. People are too conditioned. But what you can do is you can be the spark that lights the change in others. And that's my belief.
I read somewhere that a true teacher shows people where to look, but not what to do.
Exactly.
And,
Wow.
um,
It's so beautiful to share this sacred space with you, brother. I mean, seriously, and you're such a wonderful human being. I mean, seriously, thank you for sharing that.
thank you.
Thank you for creating this space for me to share.
I, if you don't mind, I just want to take this to another level as well, because I mean, you grew up as blood Pakistani. I mean, we're also blood Pakistani as well. And of course, there's many time religion and everything. Do you feel like there's a lot of us that may have gone through some form of identity crisis, like we don't know who we are and where we are, and we had to, like, when I say we, I don't mean like we as like, but like, and it could be anyone. It could be someone who's from another country, someone who's from Africa, who may have moved from here, someone, it doesn't matter, right? But do you find that, like, like immigrants tend to go through this quite a bit, like, or someone who just realizes, well, okay, like something's different here, and
Yeah.
and tying in kind of, racism as well and things like that. I mean, would you be able to talk a little bit about that, if that's okay?
Of course. So, being brought up in Scotland, for me, as a Pakistani Muslim in Scotland, Pakistani Muslim people called me Scottish. Like if I went to Pakistan, they would think, oh, this is a foreigner. In Scotland, they would call me Pakistani. So like I was, I didn't fit anywhere. And I think this, with hindsight, it's a bit of a gift, because I wasn't accepted anywhere, I had to find my own way, find my own identity. And I believe, like now being here in Costa Rica, doing medicine, I found my soul tribe, my soul family. And it's given me the ability to connect with people like you, or people from different backgrounds, people from different countries and cultures, and feel like they're my brothers and sisters. Often when we're tied strongly to a country or an identity or a culture, it's hard to identify with other countries and other cultures, For me, Scottish friends who have only Costa Rican, and I treat them all like family. And this for me has been like a really powerful wake-up call. And I hope other people can learn from people like us who go through these hardships. I remember growing up as a child and looking to people like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King as real heroes of mine, because these are people that were breaking down walls of cultural identity, breaking down barriers, fighting for equality, fighting for the voice to be heard and acceptance. And they really, lit a fire in me. And I feel like if it wasn't for people like that who are willing to die for their cause, people like me and you maybe wouldn't have the rights that we have today, So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
It really does, and this is just getting really juicy. Like, is there a fine line? Because, at the same time, like, we want to feel like peaceful warriors as well, right? Is there a fine line between getting emotionally caught up in a narrative and, also like, okay, like we need change? Where is that fine line where you don't get consumed and you don't end up feeling like a victim?
Good question. So something that comes up for me in there is like, as long as what you're doing doesn't consume you and control you, as long as what you're doing doesn't control your emotions and make you act out of emotion, then you're good. If you see yourself getting triggered, if you see yourself becoming angered or tempered or aggressive or extremely heated and arguing, or, then I would ask you to take a step back and really reassess what you're doing and if it's in your best interests. I was sitting with the great teacher the other night, Mitra Politi, who we both know, and I asked him a question about technology. And he said to me, technology is good when we use it as a tool to serve us. As soon as technology is using us, then we have a problem. And I feel like the same message can be applied to this situation. So when we're trying to raise awareness on racism or trying to enter into the political debate or, you know, become activists and protests, when political parties start to use us as tools, there's a problem. We need to be sovereign beings. We need to maintain our own sovereignty and our own peace and our own balance. And when the outside world starts to affect you, your home, and your children, this is where I would say that this is where the fine line and the balance comes in. We need to maintain our own peace and our own sovereignty and our own sanity first and foremost, so that we can be the best possible human that we can be and be an example to our children and other generations. As soon as we go out to the streets and start throwing petrol bombs and screaming and shouting and crying, what message is that sending to our children? What message? That's saying I've lost control. That's saying I'm no longer in control of my body or my mind. That's becoming part of something bigger than you. You've lost your sovereignty. You've lost your self-control. And this is where the power of meditation, of yoga, of plant medicine comes in. It reminds you how powerful you are and not to give your power or your energy away, and to be very careful with how you use your energy. I hope that kind of gives a good answer to that question.
More than that, it was really, really good.
Thank you.
And Kash, with everything that's going on in the world, especially in the Western world, a lot of people are experiencing a lot of anger, a lot of judgment. Now, we know that unconditional love is when we're truly aligned with our higher selves. How do you find the balance between equanimity, which is accepting everything that we cannot change, and also taking action for what we believe in?
Yeah. So I would come back to a similar answer as before. You know, I look at all the great spiritual leaders of the world. Look at Ram Dass. Look at Muji. Even we spoke about Mitra. What do they all have in common? They have a childlike innocence. And listen to their laughter. They laugh like they're happy little children. Yeah.
We've actually seen a video of Muji like dancing, and it's the most like beautiful.
And so, exactly. And this to me is a sign of a true spiritual leader, because they're in touch with their childlike innocence and they're enjoying life. And that to me is the key. If I'm looking at spiritual leaders and I'm sensing a disharmony or a dysresonance, you know, that to me is the key. And this word actually has been coming up a lot for me recently, is harmony and resonance. You know, if there's disharmony and dysresonance, our job as humans, I believe, is to create harmony, is to create resonance in yourself. And then once you've created harmony and resonance in yourself, it spreads to others. So this is the key to me, you know, is if you can be in harmony and be in resonance, I think everything else falls into place. And we don't even need to question each other things. This is the key to me. And it's actually a very, very simple answer. That's it. Live in harmony, find resonance, the rest will fall into place, you know? And the more humans that fall into harmony and resonance, it's like we're an orchestra, and we're all singing different songs and different tunes, and there's this harmony, this resonance. If we can all start singing the same song, like, you know, you guys have been with me in ceremony before, and we're all singing the same song. That's why we feel like family. We're all there healing the world, healing ourselves. There's no disharmony, there's no dysresonance. And if there is, healers come and they wave their wairas and they chant songs until we're back into harmony again. And this is what it's about. This is the key. It's harmony and resonance. And I can't stress that enough.
Now, does that world have sort of a barrier if you're not flexible enough? Because especially at a time like this, I mean, everything is like, you know, being shattered. Every single way of like people are used to their 9-to-5 jobs, that's been shattered. You know, there's also, I mean, of course, you just touched upon like plant medicines and things like that. I mean, that's been shattered. But one thing that, you know, is also being shattered is kind of education, schooling system. how you could, I mean, we were just talking about like how it's like, well, it might actually be better to teach kids about agriculture, right? But what school does that right now? So it's like, well, you may have to kind of design your own system for that. Would you be able to sort of kind of add that perspective, for, I guess, from that generation and that like parent, like especially parents of this generation,
Hmm.
kind of like the challenges that we're facing, but
Yeah.
not necessarily challenges, maybe even opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, first of all, my heart does go out to all the parents out there who are living in countries that, where there's a lot of stress, a lot of issues, political issues, issues around COVID, and maybe their children are in schools where they're, wearing masks or they're asked to sit apart, and maybe those parents don't have the means physically or financially to take their children out of those schools, and they have to have jobs. My heart bleeds for those parents and those people in those situations. And I'm in a unique position where I'm in Costa Rica, where I'm surrounded by nature, where there are schools, there are education places of education, where my children can go and be in nature and be taught, about growing their own food, about living in nature, about through exploration and adventure. And I'm in a really unique position, and so it's hard because I really have to be honest. In this one, I don't know the answer to what those parents can do, other than have hope, have faith to work on themselves. If they can find nature, if they can take their kids out into nature, if they can meditate in front of their kids, if they can use positive words around their children, if they can, teach their children breath work, all these different tools that you have within your means that are free, that the planet offers, that we can get through breath, that we can get through a tree, that we can get through meditation. You can still do these practices around your children, and you can still teach your children these things, so that when they do go out into the world, when they do go into a school, they can almost bring their own energy into that space so that it doesn't affect them too much. I would think this is a really cool tool to teach parents now, that we can all do for free. You can all do yoga for free. You can all meditate for free. You can all do breath work for free. You have access to these tools that the world offers us. So my suggestion would be to parents in those situations, where you're stuck in a job and you're in an environment that's very unhealthy, bring mindfulness into your home. Take your children to parks, spend time with them in nature, talk to plants, talk to animals, talk to trees. That's the best advice I could give parents. And for us, people like me and you who are in a better situation, where we have the luxury, where we have a bit more financial independence, or where we can really educate our children in the way we want to educate them, I would just say yes. Like, let's go. The education system needs reform. We need to reprioritize what are we teaching our children. We need to bring mindfulness into schools, bring meditation into schools, teach our children how to grow food, teach our children how to appreciate love, how to deal with mental illness, how to deal with trauma, how to deal with rejection. How to deal with the real life issues that we face day to day, how to really focus on personal growth, how to give gratitude and give love and intention. And for me, a big one is like intention, and whatever you do in life, do it with intention. Whether when you're eating food, give thanks. When you're going out buying food, buy with intention. Why are you buying the food you're buying? When you're watching films or TVs or programs, why are you watching them? What are you hoping to gain or learn from that experience? Be mindful of the media you're consuming. Be mindful of the people that you have around you. All these lessons that we can learn from a young age, that me and you had to learn now in our 30s and 40s. We didn't have the luxury. Our parents did the best they could. They didn't know any better. And we also have to learn to forgive our upbringings as well, so that we can move on free, so that we don't have resentment or bitterness or anger towards our parents or towards the previous generations. They only had the tools that were given to them. Like, we only had the tools that were given to us, but we're so blessed to be around these great teaching plants and medicines like ayahuasca and even meditation and what we can learn through these modalities. And it just, it's opened my eyes to a new world. And I'm so grateful to be able to teach my children now at the ages of 4 and 5, rather than having to go through all the trauma and pain that I went through. They don't have to suffer the way we suffered.
Wow, that's incredible. So then what about even teachers as well? Like, would you have a different message for teachers? Because there's a lot of them emerging this way.
Yeah.
Right? We've just talked about parents, but I mean, and in different ways too, right? Because you've
Mm-hmm.
got, like people, this whole online model, but then there's also kind of like even people like teachers and even like people in education and everything looking to adapt as well. Would you be able to sort of touch upon that too?
Sure. So like, I mean, I would say teaching is one of the most dignified and positions of integrity in the world. You know, being a teacher, devoting your life to teaching others, you know, is a beautiful position to be in. So I want to like send a big thank you out to all the teachers in the world. I do feel that the system that the teachers are put in, that itself is a little bit corrupted. That itself is outdated. I'm sure there are many amazing schools out there that are slowly changing, but they need to change quicker. And I would say to the teachers to remember why they chose to be the profession that they're in, and to really focus on their heart. And if they feel that the system they're in isn't allowing them to teach to the best of their abilities, to look at creating new systems. So one of the things that's been coming up for me is, instead of paying attention to all the systems that are broken in the world, don't put your attention there, because energy goes where energy flows, or energy flows where you pay attention. So my argument is we should create new systems that are better. Simple. Instead of focusing my attention on the broken political system, on the broken education system, on the broken health system, it's going to take me years and years and years, and I possibly won't even get anywhere of trying to change those systems, because there's so, you know, there's so much red tape, there's so much masculine energy there that's so hard to break down. But what I can do is I can come to Costa Rica, I can meet with people like you, we can build our own communities, we can build our own schools, we can bring our children and raise them how we want to raise them, and then other people will look at the systems that we're creating. And maybe we can light the spark in others. Maybe we can create the blueprints for other systems, you know? Maybe people can say, oh, wow, look at this school that Bassam and Kasim have made. I want to create one myself. And maybe they'll create it in America or Hawaii and Japan, you know? And this is what we can do. And we can create ideas and blueprints, and other people can look onto them, and it's free. It can just spread like wildfire around the world. So this to me is create new systems, become sovereign. If you aren't happy being a teacher in a school, become a homeschool teacher, create your own school, do whatever you can within your means necessary to be the change that you want to see in the world. I keep coming back to those words, be the change you want to see, you know. You're not going to be able to change the world, but you can change yourself, and you can be the change. And by being the change, other people will follow.
Wow.
And you know, something else that's coming up for me as I'm speaking to you is I'm stepping into this new role. Yeah. Like in previous years, I had a lot of fear of public speaking. I had a lack of self-worth. I didn't feel like I had a position of authority to give others wisdom, because who am I? This was my thinking, you know. Doing plant medicine, come here to Costa Rica, has given me the self-confidence, the self-belief that what I have to say matters, that my words can impact others in a positive way. And it's only through putting myself through serious pain, serious growth, through discomfort, going outside of my comfort zone, can I feel like I can speak to you with confidence, where what I say might impact the people listening in a positive way, you know? And it's just through escaping your comfort zone, you know, really pushing yourself and believing in yourself. Like, you are capable, we are all capable of the same things. I look at all the humans in the world that have achieved greatness. I look at Einstein, I look at Steve Jobs, I look at Muji, I look at all these humans, and they're just like, whatever field they're in, whether it's spiritual or business or you know, or like motivational speakers, they all just they have the same tools that me and you have. They all have 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, a voice, a brain. They're no greater or worse than me or you. You know, we're all capable of greatness. It's about having self-belief and having the willingness to step into the unknown and step outside of your comfort zone. That's all it is. And it's this. So I look at nature. What does nature always do? It's constantly transforming, constantly dying, constantly regrowing. There's death and movement. It's never sitting still. It's never stagnant, because as soon as it's stagnant, it creates disease. It creates mold and, you know, and like illness, and things go bad and off, and life dies. With humans, when we're stagnant, when we're sitting at home on the sofa with the remote control, flicking channels, you're stagnant. You're not moving. You're not growing. And this is where dis-ease grows. This is where, you know, discomfort comes, and you're just sitting and you get neck pains and back pains, and then maybe you become diabetic, and maybe after a while you become cancerous, and then, you know, this is how people die. This is how people, you know, this is how disease grows. As long as you, and I learned this actually 2 nights ago. I'm in an ayahuasca ceremony, and I'm closing my eyes and I'm looking at the altar, and I'm immediately transported into a white room with angels, and they're teaching me how to move. And I'm doing this with my neck and my arms, and I'm, you know, I'm moving energy with my body, and they're saying, move, be free. And like, I'm just moving like with the energy, and I'm realizing I don't move enough. You know, I need to do yoga. I need to meditate. I need to breath. I need to dance. I need to get my body up and move and be active. And it's just about moving energy. This is all we're here to do. And when you stop moving energy, that's where pains come in. I have a really bad neck. I have a bad back. And it's because I don't move enough. And the same is in life. What are you every day? What are you doing with energy? Like, even if you're reading a book, that's energy. Even if you're meditating, that's energy. Even if you're singing a song, that's energy. Even if you're talking to others, that's energy. Just keep doing things, keep growing, keep moving energy. This is what I think I'm so passionate about. Me and you are just energy. And what do we do with that energy? And I feel like we have to keep moving this energy, you know, and just keep flowing, going with the flow. Bruce Lee said, "Be like water, my friend," you know, and he really understood that we are energy, and that when we can be like water and just go with the flow, and whatever life throws at you, just navigate like water does, you know. And the way water just goes with the flow, and water can be so powerful yet so calm, yet so peaceful, yet it can you know, it can like when it can like create, like, I don't know, tidal waves at the same time, but at the same time it can be so peaceful. And it's just like, we can be like water as well, you know. We can be so at peace, and yet we can be so powerful at the same time.
Wow.
Beautiful. And Kash, you know, from a lot of teachers and shamans, we've learned that, you know, the heart is the intuitive gift, and the mind is the faithful servant. The heart leads the way, and the mind just follows. You know, in the West, we have it kind of the other way around. How can we drop the awareness from the mind to the heart more often?
Okay, good question. So for me, 2 years ago, before doing plant medicine, I very much lived in my mind. I lived in my head. And when you live in your head, you're always overthinking. Anxiety lives there. Depression lives there. Thoughts are always there. I'm going to bed, I'm thinking. I'm sleeping, I'm thinking. I'm never truly at rest. Doing plant medicine took me on the longest journey of my life, which was from my head to my heart. And I want you to imagine there's a line from here to here, you know. And when that line is straight flowing, it's the energy can flow, you know. But often when we are suffering from anxiety or stress, it's like a zigzag, you know. It's very sharp, and there's discomfort, there's, you know, disease, and there's anxiety. And the trick is to make that line still, so that the energy can flow freely from there to there, and you can live from your heart. How can people do this? How can people live a more heart-centered life? The tools that are there for us are diet. Be mindful of what you put in your body, because you are what you eat. Fasting, meditation, yoga, plant medicine. Mindful living is the key to me, you know. Just breathing. For many people out there, I believe that plant medicine is the answer, because we have been so conditioned. As a generation, we are very, very unique, you know. We have hundreds and thousands of years of built up trauma through our ancestors that's carried in through us. And we have this in our life. And we're in a unique generation where we really need to almost purge and decondition ourselves, everything that we've been taught. And there's a lot of trauma in us that we're maybe born with. Like my father was abused as a child. My grandfather, I think, was abused as a child. My grandfather was into alcohol and gambling. And I really think that there's something in the DNA, you know. There's patterns that karmic DNA, you know. And it's like this family karma. People talk about this, like, oh, there's addiction in my family, there's trauma in my family. And even by saying that, you're almost manifesting it, you know. So I really feel that plant medicine acts as a catalyst that we need in this generation. And I'm hoping that maybe after this generation, my children will need it for different reasons. I need plant medicine to purge. I need plant medicine to release my ancestral trauma. I need plant medicine to grow. Maybe my children can use plant medicine for personal growth, to evolve, to understand consciousness, to navigate in those realms, to really take humanity to the next level, you know, to really go from the 3D to the 5D, you know. And maybe it's up to me and you as fathers, as parents, to create this world for our children to grow in. And I really believe this is true. My son Gabriel, he was born at a very time in my life where things weren't going very well, and he came out his mother's womb at 5:55 a.m. And at that moment, I thought, wow, and those numbers have been following me for months, as you know, with synchronicity and these numbers, these angelic numbers. And as soon as he came, his mother said, my baby Gabriel, like an angel has been sent to us, you know. And I really feel like it's my job to pave the way for them, you know. I'm in ayahuasca and I'm doing medicine and I'm purging and I'm being sick and I'm discomfort. And I hope that when my son does the same, he doesn't have to feel the same pain and discomfort that I felt. I hope that he can transcend and evolve and create a world where we don't need to have pain, we don't need to have discomfort, where we can just exist in abundance and thrive. Right now, we're not thriving. The humanity is not thriving. Humanity is suffering. And through suffering can we grow. And it's up to people like me and you, Ramcha and Basim, and anyone listening to this, it's up to us to endure this pain, to grow, so that our children don't need to. And so our ancestors can heal. There's more to this than me and you. We're healing for our future generations and for our past generations. And this is why it's so important that we do what we're doing. We don't understand how powerful we are. What we do today will resonate for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. And that's a fact. We simply don't have the capacity to see that far ahead. Our brains are not equipped to see that far ahead or that far behind. If we could see what our ancestors went through, if we could see every one of our great-grandfathers and great-grandmothers and the pain, the poverty, the disease, the agony, the death at childbirths, the deaths, if we could see all that, we would live very differently. We would live in gratitude to them and honor to them, but we can't see that pain. So we live in this tunnel vision. We only see as far as our parents and our children. But imagine if you could have a godlike vision. Imagine if you could expand that consciousness and see into the past and the future. We would live very, very differently. We would live in complete gratitude of our past and in complete humility of the future. We would want to live to create a better life for those thousands of people that are going to follow in our path, you know. Think of the great teachers of the path like Jesus and Muhammad or Buddha, and think how they impact us. Think how what they've done resonates for thousands of years. We have the same power within us. Heaven and the kingdom of heaven is within each of us. We only have to see it and believe it. And this is the path. This is how important we are. We don't see it because we're too on our own heads, you know. We are all God experiencing life through a human body. This is what I believe, you know. And yet we let life get to us. We let all the small things stress us out. We let anxiety get to us and beat us. How can we do that? How dare we do that? You know, we're not showing our ancestors. Imagine if we could feel what they went through. No, we don't have permission to feel to get upset over these small things. We are much bigger, much mightier than this. You know, we're bigger than this. We're better than this. You know, and I really feel passionate about that.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. As someone who just recently literally packed up his family and just made some big decisions, made some big changes, we take huge inspiration from that. As someone who, obviously this is very fresh in your mind still, would you be able to kind of maybe share the importance of that and maybe just some really great basic tips or decisions that someone who might be in a position where they feel very suffocated by their environment, how maybe shifting your environment can lead to, a better future.
Yeah. So there's a proverb or a quote that says, you cannot heal in the same environment that made you sick. And I really think there's a strong element of truth to that. Where I was in Scotland, I was surrounded by mental illness, addiction. There's all this energy around me that it's very hard to create a safe space there where I can grow, because you're just constantly being bombarded with negative energy. Even suicide was happening around me, all this stuff is very, very hard. I mean, I think taking risks and moving out your comfort zone is coming back to this same theme, you know. I ask people why are they stuck where they are, and they come up with lots of reasons. I can't leave. I have a job. My family is here. My friends are here. I'm comfortable here. You know, what would happen if I left? You know, like I'd be unsafe, or I wouldn't have the same security I have at home, you know? And I think this is the key. It's coming back to nature, like learning from nature. You don't grow in comfort. You don't grow in safety. You only grow through discomfort and through adventure and through risk, you know? If everyone before us didn't move or didn't leave, where would we be? Me and you would be in India just now, talking Hindi and Pakistani and Urdu, you know, and we wouldn't know anything that we know now, you know. Our parents and our grandparents took risks to leave to create a better life for us, didn't they? You know, and I'm so glad they did. And it's now up to us, like we're doing, to move to a different place where we can raise our children in the best way. So my point to other people is, don't think about yourself. Think about your children and your children's children. Where do you want them to grow? Where do you want them to thrive? Do you honestly think they're going to thrive where you're living just now? If so, stay. If you think that they're not going to thrive, then the answer is in the question. You need to move. You need to go somewhere where you can create a better future for your children. If that means sacrificing a job, if that means sacrificing money, if that means sacrificing comfort, isn't that why we're here? To make sacrifice for our children? You know, that's what I think.
And turns out the best decisions for our children are also the best decisions for ourselves too.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well said. Yeah. Yeah, that's the irony in all of this. Like, you know, what seems like sacrifice is actually selfish. You know, it ends up being very selfish.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. So Kash, you know, by the way, you gave us a phenomenal interview. We're gonna, yeah, we're gonna have to do this more often. And you know, so there's listeners over here. They want to understand more about, you know, what you're all about and what you're up to. What are the things that I guess where your focus is? Would you be able to kind of just talk through some of that as well?
Sure, brother. So I'm here in Costa Rica. I'm going to be working much more closely with plant medicine. I feel a calling to do that. I feel like it's a duty of mine to help to educate people about the truth of plant medicine, where it comes from, how to respect this medicine, how to treat it with intention and gratitude, how to navigate during these journeys. So that's one of my purposes in being here. The other purpose is for me to grow on a personal level and a business level. I feel like I want to shift from a place of working to make money. I want to shift from there to a place of consciousness, to create conscious businesses, to engage with conscious entrepreneurs. I'm working with my friend Samuel Austin and also another guide and spiritual guide called Jiro Taylor. And we're going to create a movement or a business called Botanicos, which is like Botanical Brothers. And the purpose of this is to act as teachers and guides and coaches and mentors to entrepreneurs who want to align with their purpose and live conscious lives and align their businesses with their purpose, you know, and to help guide people down this path. Because I believe that people in positions of influence and power, they are the key to the future. Can you imagine if we are able to influence Elon Musk and sit in ceremony with him, for example? So there are many future Elon Musks out there right now who are in their bedrooms studying or learning or university or starting off with their first business, you know? And I really feel that I want to target this kind of demographic. Where is my energy best served? Where can I provide the most impact to the world is what I'm asking myself. And I feel like I'm an entrepreneur. I have a big platform. I'm able to build brands. I'm able to engage audiences. I have a skill set. I'm also aligning with my purpose. I'm also overcoming all these fears of public speaking. I'm understanding how to raise my children, becoming a better father. I have a lot of tools necessary to help guide other conscious entrepreneurs so they can become on the same path I'm on, so they can thrive so their businesses can become consciously aligned, so their businesses become environmentally friendly, so their businesses can serve the planet instead of take from the planet, you know, so they can change their focus and their goals. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here. I feel like I'm in the hub. I'm in the place I need to be, working at Rhythmia, a life advancement center, speaking to hundreds of people every week who are on this journey, entrepreneurs like yourself, passionate people like yourself, motivational speakers, thought leaders, shamans, coaches. These are the people I want to surround myself with so that we can co-create, so that we can build together. And this is what I'm really passionate about. And I want to create this kind of mastermind, if you like, you know, where we can have all live together in harmony and help each other to grow and really be in service to each other and to ourselves. And I think that the potential is limitless. And that's what I'm working on here. As well as this, filmmaking as well. I ask myself, why am I on the path I'm on? And I think back to when I was in my early 20s, mid 20s, watching films, documentaries that really planted seeds in my head, you know, that really awakened me and made me understand things better. And it sent me on a path of self-discovery. And film and music and art has the ability to inspire. So I want to create documentaries, films, podcasts that ignite inspiration in others so they can just start their own journey. And I love this idea, you know, of creating ayahuasca documentaries, plant medicine documentaries, podcasts, exciting conversations like this, where people.
But you got a few coming up soon, right?
Yeah, we have two. So there's been many, many obstacles along the way with these documentaries. Financially, we've been encountering lots of barriers. It's been, you know, these projects getting bigger and bigger, and we have to throw more and more money in, and we're even struggling to find the money. But it's all, I think, it's tests. You know, we're being tested, and we're persevering, and the films are getting bigger and better as time goes. We've just had Taita Juanito agree to be interviewed to appear in our documentary. Can you imagine? And the credibility this is going to give our film, and it's had to take this long to make because all of a sudden we're getting these opportunities, you know. So Taita Juanito is going to be in there, Mitra is going to be in there, we've got Jerry in there, we've got Brad, we've got Sarah, we've got all this wisdom in one documentary. And that's one called Awakening the Soul that me and Sam are working on. Sam himself has been working for 12 months hard on a small laptop from his home, you know, and that's why it's taking so long. Now we're here, Rhythmia are supporting us, we're getting the support that we need now with editors, sound mixers, computers, you know, monitors, that we really need to take this from a small production into a hour-long feature-length documentary that does, you know, with the support it deserves. And on the other hand, I also
that come together for you, because as both of us, we've been seeing your journey. Like it's beautiful to see that just happen.
Thank you. And the other one I've been working on is a documentary series called Pantera, which is more a personal journey of mine. I just felt like from a personal level, I wanted to document my own transformation to show others, you know, because I felt like I had quite a unique journey with myself and with my partner, Marie, who you guys have met as well, doing ayahuasca for the first time. How do we navigate through this journey? What does it do to us? And I also wanted to create this series so that it's like a model, so I can approach other retreats that serve different medicines, go there and film and document so people can understand, maybe this medicine is for me. Maybe I'm more suited to Iboga. Maybe I should do San Pedro. Maybe I should do mushrooms. And if I want to do a retreat, maybe I should go to a smaller retreat or maybe a bigger retreat. So just to give people a place where they can really look and see a wealth of information and understand, because I didn't have that luxury. You know, I just went to the first place that I thought about. It'd be great. So I'm trying to create this documentary series, you know, so where I can really showcase all these medicines, all these shamans, all these teachers, and help people to understand what's best for them.
You're going to take care of the retreat community over here as soon as they're launched. We'd like to premiere as much as possible.
All right, love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And just to add to that, Kash, I mean, we saw some of the excerpts from the documentaries, and they're just beautiful. Not just the wisdom that's shared, but, you know, you and your team are extremely talented, because that level of production and creativity, we haven't seen that level ever.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. And, you know, it's funny because we had never made a film before this. This is our first attempt. Can you believe? And we're just
crazy.
It's crazy, and it feels like the plants are working through us. You know, it feels like we're being guided by the plants opportunities are opening, and it's really beautiful. And we're actually sitting with intention, you know, we're filming with intention, we're doing ayahuasca with intention, and we're asking the plant to guide us, we're asking the plant to support us, we're asking the plant to make sure that we're doing the best service we can to this plant. We feel the responsibility and the weight that's on our shoulders of really sharing the message of these plants with dignity and integrity, you know. And it's a big responsibility. I don't want to give people false information or wrong information or show the plant in the wrong light, you know, because it can easily be done.
But we know that we've seen it enough times, you know,
Exactly.
reading before, especially the first timers, like the people who haven't yet been kind of like at a plant medicine ceremony. There's a lot of strange documentaries that present it in a very strange way. So I get it. Wow. Wow, Kash. I mean, I don't know how to thank you. I mean, seriously, this has been really like just absolutely incredible. I mean, you gave us a really amazing interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege, and thank you for creating this space for me and other thought leaders to have this space, you know, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes of this retreat. It looks beautiful, and